Vamos a ver, ya yo estoy grabando, yo no sé, Jess.
También.
Okay. Eve, all yours.
Okay, now.
Yep.
Okay, so good evening in this case, guys and teacher. Well, actually, our topic of today is how to improve writing techniques. Okay, well, first I have found some different facts in regards of writing. The first one is, do you know that the poet Amy Lowell once bought a stash of 10,000 cigars, claiming she needed them to help her write? So imagine buying more than 10,000 cigars. Is it possible? Well, she did it. Then moving on to the next slide. When Dr. Seuss was stuck writing his books, he would go to a secret closet filled with hundreds of hats and wear them till the words came. Okay, so basically moving on. What is writing? In simple terms, writing is the process of using symbols. For example, we can use letters, the decoding symbols, different pictures, dialects, and punctuation to communicate thoughts and ideas in a readable and understandable form. Then we have like a comparative chart or the contrast between the writing skill and the speaking skill, which is really important and popular as well. So for writing, we have that it is a learned skill and speaking is universal. Okay, for writing, we need complex sentences, for example, simple present, present progressive. And for speaking, we use simple sentences, for example, the simple past. Okay, then for writing, you have to use thoughts. What are you thinking about for organizing your ideas? And then when you speak, you have to use your voice. After that, we have that for writing, we need to spell the different words. And for speaking, we have to use our pronunciation. After that, we don't need feedback for writing because we can organize our ideas. And for speaking, we need feedback. What errors do we have? What are our mistakes? Then for writing, we need punctuation. What does it mean? Well, punctuation means commas and dots and many others. And for speaking, we need to pause the intonation. Finally, for writing a paragraph, we can be planned. Okay, it is not delayed. We can plan what we are going to write, and for speaking, it has to be immediately. For example, if the teacher asks you to speak about, I don't know, mammals or animals, you have to speak like a prompt to speech immediately. Moving on, we have this important question. Why is it important? Well, writing is a form of input. It means of building fluency. Okay, it is a way of developing accuracy, not only accuracy, but fluency as well. This one is really important, the fourth one, because it says children think and express their ideas. They can become more creative, more critical thinkers as well. And as I said before, the critical thinking part, which is really important because with this ability, you can improve your brainstorming. Finally, we have these four abilities of knowledge we need for having a good writing. The first one, which is the knowledge of audience. For example, the knowledge of who we are writing to. So the more one knows about one's audience, the easier the writing is. What is our audience in this case? Teenagers, children, adults, etc. Then we have stored writing plans. We have background knowledge, which is the formal schemata and content schemata. After that, we have knowledge of the audience. To know who we are writing to. The more one knows about one's audience, the easier the writing is. Okay? And then we have the knowledge of the topic.
Okay, so good evening, teacher and classmates. Continue with Evelyn's class. We also have the importance of audience. For example, we have to take into account different audiences, contexts, and purposes. Then moving on, we have the writing prompt. That is also that we have to take into account and to have clearly the state that we have to have and why we are going to write, right? So we have the topic, the genre, the communicative purpose, the target audience of the writing ask, as well as the features of the output expected of the students. Then in the next slide, we had an activity for you, but now since we cannot make it, I'm gonna explain it. So let's move in the slide as text example. So imagine you are a member of a team preparing a tourist leaflet for English-speaking visitors to Aracoa. So then you are gonna give the guidelines to the learners, right? So for example, write a text with 150 words in addition to the short introductory paragraph below, mentioning things worth seeing and doing in your town, such as monuments, entertainment, eating, shopping, walking, tours, musicians, and a lot of things, right? So the idea of this example is that when you want your students to make as Evelyn said, a prompt speech or something, maybe they will have like 1 minute to write something. So you can give them ideas about how you want that text. So the idea is to give them like a spot and also a topic in order to giving ideas and to improve their writing skills. Then we have a little bit about the story of the approach of writing. We have also that the product approach dominated the teaching of writing in English learning teaching until the 1980s. It also says that it involves working on writing and sentence level, filling in missing connectors, for example, nevertheless, however, or for example, using model text with the student's copy. And also normally each model text contains a lot of examples of a specific type of language that teacher wants the students to focus on. For example, as Evelyn said, the tenses, in this case we have the past simple. Then we have the students read the model text and do exercises which focus on the language in the model text. For example, the past simple. And finally, the students may be asked to transfer a text which is in the present simple into the past simple. The model text will help them to do this. So also the idea of writing techniques is that you are going to do a lot of things, for example, grammar, vocabulary, and so on. Then we have the product approach to writing. Continuing with this idea, we have that the main idea of writing skills is to develop grammar and vocabulary. So if you want to learn a language, you need to write, not just to speak, as we used to think. Then we have in the other slide, that it is regulated at the end of a course book unit and is usually assigned for homework. But the main idea of this is the student's written work, right? So when you can improve grammar and to correct the vocabulary, whether ideas have been communicated clearly, coherently, and effectively, and whether the final product reflects the characteristics of the genre was not normally a concern. And also, we have that the focus, obviously, is a grammatical accuracy. And something that we have as an example or a method that was used, and we can also use it in order to make our students improve their writing skills, is the autolingual method. Okay, so I think that's my part. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, teacher and classmates. I'm going to explain you a little more. What do you real writers do? Well, we have to think that with writers plan throughout the writing process, changing things many times if it is necessary, and writing multiple drafts. Moving on to the next slide, we have the nature of writing. First one, we have planning. By generating ideas, setting goals, and organizing. The second one is translating. turning plans into writing language. And finally, we have reviewing by evaluating, revising, and editing. What do real writers do? Well, good writers may rehearse or discuss what they want to write before they actually do it. Then, good writers read their reading carefully, trying to imagine how clear their ideas are to the reader. If something isn't clear, they change it. And something important is the motto of the process approach is basically writing and then rewriting. Okay, 5 process approach emphasizes. The first one is the importance of writing multiple drafts. You can add ideas or remove ideas. The second one is importance of revision. You can see if it has errors or not. The third one is the importance of planning throughout. The next one is the importance of making your writing reader friendly. You have to find the best way for everyone to understand your reading. And finally, the importance of writing in different styles for different audiences. And we have 8 stages in the process of writing. The first one is gathering information. Then we have to generating ideas by making notes of the ideas you feel are relevant to the topic. The ideas you generate will be limited by the audience you have in mind. Then your goal setting. You have to decide what you want to do with all the material you have generated, deciding on the main messages you want to send. Then organizing by grouping ideas you have generated and deciding on the order you want to present them. It will also involve thinking about the links between different sets of ideas. Then we have making a first draft. Then reading your work and redrafting. Then we have editing. In this option, this may occur in brief episodes interrupting other parts of the process. There are 4 kinds of editing we can do. The first one is editing for standard language convention. The second one is editing for accuracy of meaning. The third one is editing for reader understanding. And the last one is editing for reader acceptance. And the final stage is when everything is ready, you can do the final version. Thank you.
Well, hello guys, teacher. I hope you are right. Okay, let's move to the importance of process writing. Writing, you have to know writing is important because writing makes students aware that writing is often a discovery process in which ideas are generated and not transcribed as we think, right? Students realize that writing by its nature is a process. So even in simple methods, writing is seen as determined and communicative activity. Teach students to plan and research. Students' collaboration develops. And the last one, but no less important, feedback. As Valeria says, when we read or document what we write, we can see mistakes so we can fix them, right? So that's what we do when we read or rewrite what we read, what we write. Next, please. So we can see some of the disadvantage. It takes a lot of time for teachers and students, as you see when we have a test about writing. It takes all the class, so loss of focus, student interest. It is not suitable, sorry, suitable for some personalities. Students need to be taught per editing, planning, and stages. Restricts spontaneity and range of writing activities. Classmate, please, the next one. Okay, continue with general approach to writing. What is general approach to teaching writing? Use sample tests of different genres. Test type. A student learns how different types of tests are organized. A student learns the different languages, lexicon, grammar. A student learns to think about to organize tests and use language to achieve the purpose of different types of tests. Gender is a term for grouping tests together, representing how writers typically use to respond to recurring situations. Gender are characterized by their communicative purpose as well as by their patterns of structure, style, content, and intended audience. Thank you. Teaching writing using the gender approach. The key point in this historical tradition is that tests vary linguistically according to their purpose and context. As a result, it is possible to specify linguistic features of particular text types, right? Classmates, please, can you move for the other? Please, hello. Okay, thank you. Therefore, teachers need to teachers need to systematically analyze what the genre of writing they are trying to teach is like. This analyzing may consist of looking at how writers typically use organization, grammar, or vocabulary when writing in a genre, as well as making students understand the purpose of writing, as Vale said before. And
Now,
classmates, it's your
okay,
turn. Thank you.
okay. Now moving on to the basis of the genre approach. We have that it tells students what different genres in English looks like. So basically, this approach shows students the different features that all the genres have in the English. Now, the second one is that learners are going to study text in the genre they are going to be writing before they embark on their own writing. So before they start creating their own writing, let's say their own essays, they're going to watch, they're going to read some previous essays from different authors about the genre they are going to work on. And if we want the students to write business letters of various kinds, we let them look at typical models of such letter before starting to compose their own. As I was previously saying, they have to look some examples before they start working on their own, let's say, essays, for example. And this approach is appropriate for students who are going to study English for specific purposes. So let's say business, let's say sports, let's say job, or for any specific purpose they have. This approach is going to be appropriate for them in order to get some knowledge about the specific topic they're going to be on. Some of the activities that can be used when using this general approach are preparing text with omissions, changes, or different structures. Also identifying different and similar sample texts as particular genres. We also have that reorganizing or rewriting scrambled or unfinished paragraph to be a good activity. and also completing gap sentences or an entire clause from formatting clues. Some other activities are substituting a feature, let's say the tense, let's say the modality, let's say the voice, or let's say the topic sentence. And also using a skeletal text to predict language forms and meaning, collecting examples of a language feature, perhaps with a concordance, and working in groups to correct errors, circle particular features, or match one feature with another, and some others. So, what should the general approach activities have? So it must allow students to experience success in writing. So in that way, they will know that they're improving, right? Another thing is that it must help develop learners' writing skills, right? That's why they are going to write in order to develop the writing skills. Another one will be that help them understand that writing has a purpose to communicate thoughts and ideas, show them that writing is not only for writing, show them that writing has something to express themselves, to express what they feel in that moment, and to stimulate and encourage creative writing. So how to motivate students to write? So we as teachers must provide a clear purpose or a reason to write to the students, right? As I was saying, something that they would like to write, not only write for write. And the topic for writing should be familiar, it should be something meaningful for them, or it should be relevant to students' lives and interests. We must look for something that they would like to write about. Also, we must leave students to use creativity and imagination when they are writing. We must allow them to write whatever they want. Also, we must prepare them well before writing, using examples, giving them the necessary information. We must encourage collaborative group writing as well as individual writing, and we must provide opportunities for students to share their writings. Also, we must provide constructive and positive feedback, right? Try to look the good thing of their errors, try to motivate them to improve their errors that they are doing. Treat students' errors strategically, as I was saying, looking for a way to improve that error, that mistake that they are doing, and give students a sense of achievement from time to time. So let them know that they are improving, that they are getting better on the writing skill. So basically that will be all about the teaching writing skills. As we can see, we have really important information and really important stuff in here. We have some examples of activities, we have some different approach, and we have also some important tips in order to apply this approach. So that will be all for this presentation, guys. Thank you very much. I hope that you enjoy it.